Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Sensei Pink and I'm coming back to you guys for my review on Suitor Armor episode 80 and 81. Now before we get into today, and as always, be sure to follow me on all of my social media. That's number one. Number two, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button, and let's get into it. Jumping into episode 80, we kick it off with Lucia and Reimund coming out of, I don't know, like the castle or somewhere from, and Lucia, she's all disguised up and she's just like, look, Reimund, you don't have to hide everywhere. Like, no one is going to recognize you. We then actually get to see Reimund, and it turns out that he actually requested to have his disguise look like his father so that he would see, how he would look, if he looked more like him. And Lucy is just like, look, no one's gonna recognize you. What might actually happen is they'll think that you're your father's ghost, okay? So just chill out and we'll be fine. We then get a little bit of background on Reimund, and it turns out that once his mother actually died, his mother is what actually caused his dad to die. Because once his mother died, his father basically fell apart. He didn't want any of the kingdom joining in on the funeral. It was a pretty private situation. And just after she died, he couldn't get himself together, and eventually he decided that he needed to join his wife in the afterlife. As these two walk along, Reimund actually sees a couple things. He sees a guy who's like, looks like his leg is broken or something, and he ends up giving him a coin or something, some kind of money for support. He accidentally bumps into an elf who, right after I guess she bumps him, she's just kind of like scared and walks away. He then sees these kids looking like one is dressed as a fairy and one is a knight, and the knight eventually catches up to the quote-unquote fairy and ends up killing her. It's a game, not real life. As he's seeing this, Lucia is just like, you look uncomfortable. And Reimund is just like, I suppose that this is what you were hoping for. And being the girl that she is, Lucia is just like, not necessarily. She begins to basically tell Reimund like, look, you're a smart man. I think you can figure out why you're feeling uncomfortable. I'm not here to try and make you feel uncomfortable. I need you to figure out why you're feeling uncomfortable, because in the end, you're a smart guy. And if you start, using some of that brain power that I know that you have, you can be a good king. And with being a good king, you won't have to listen to your uncle whispering, all kinds of crazy shit in your ear. Now becoming a bit defensive, Reimund is just like, look, why is my uncle a problem, and why is him whispering in my ear a problem to you? Is it you that wants to whisper in my ear? Like, what are your motives, Lucia? So after basically questioning her motives and if she's just trying to like advance her position or, figure out what it is that she wants, Lucia is just like, again, Reimund, like, you're a smart man. You can figure this out. Like, I'm not even going to grace that question with an answer, and I think that I'm not going to grace that question with an answer because you should already know what's up. After saying this, Lucia is just like, look, let's go get something to eat. Let's go up in this tavern. And Reimund is just like, we're gonna go in there? And she's just like, yeah, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna go get something to eat. Now, y'all, not even, I guess, like 2 minutes into his meal, this man is claiming that the tavern has the best, and I mean the best food he's ever had. And just like 2 minutes beforehand, he was just like, you know what? I don't even think this is gonna even hold a candle to the royal kitchens. And now look at that man. His life done been changed by tavern food. After basically making a little bit of a show because, he's the king, and he's just like, you're an artist. You're the best cook. You're the greatest. Lucy's just like, look, chill, dude. We need to keep a low profile. And right after this, the two start talking, and Reimund begins apologizing to Lucia for like earlier what he said about her having like ulterior motives. He's just like, look, I apologize for that. It just, when it comes to my uncle, I just don't know what to do because he's always been around and essentially he's the only family I have. So when I became king and, I just felt so overwhelmed with that job, like his uncle was just like, look, I'm gonna take on all the harder tasks. Like, if you want me to, I'll offer to. And you just worry about sitting there being a king. And, being the nephew that he is, he's just like, okay, that sounds great. Let's do that. The problem with this, though, is that Reimund actually never became quote unquote ready in his uncle's eyes to take on the true role of being king, and not the title, but everything that went with it, such as the war and again, all of the harder tasks of being a king. So in his eyes, Reimund is never going to be ready, and that's just a position that Lord Rickon is gonna have. I keep saying Rickon. Lord Rickon is going to have, probably till the end of time. After, Reimund is kind of just like having a pity party for himself, and it's just like, look, like, again, he's the only family I have and only family I know, and yeah, that's kind of it. Lucy is just like, look, Reimund, like, he only has as much power as you give him. And, he's not your only family anymore. Me and Kirsi, we're your family now. And, I've always wanted to have an older brother. And in the end, we're going to be here for you no matter what. And blood isn't everything. All right, guys. So that's the end of this episode. So let's move on to episode 81. Kicking off episode 81, we pick up with Kirsi looking at the wedding dress, kind of still in mourning. And it just kind of looks like she's going to tear up any moment. And as she's staring at the wedding dress, Lucia walks in and she's just like, you're gonna look beautiful. Seeing how teary-eyed Kirsi is, Lucia is just like, look, Kirsi, if we need to delay the wedding, Reimund is perfectly fine with that. And she's just like, no, I want to marry him. And, I'm excited for the wedding, but essentially I'm crying because I'm a horrible daughter and my father just died and I shouldn't be excited about jack shit. After hearing this, Lucia is just like, Kirsi, look, your father would want you to be happy. You've mourned him and you will continue to mourn him. But the good and happy moments in your life, you don't have to drown that out with sadness. You can be happy and you can be sad. But again, you deserve to be happy. And when it's time to be happy, you can be happy. And you shouldn't feel bad for being happy about something that's happy. After Lucia tells her this, Kirsi is just like, I'm also a little scared because after this, I'm going to be queen, but I'm also going to be losing you as my lady in waiting. And now that you're going to be Norix's apprentice, that's just going to change everything. After this, Lucia is just like, you're right. Change is good. It's always good to have a little change. And after this, Kirsi's just like, look, I haven't experienced any good change. And Lucy is just like, look, as the queen, you will be able to make changes, good or bad, but preferably good. And as queen and making changes, you should just try and improve the lives of everyone in the kingdom. And that's everyone, including, every kind of class of person in this Suitor Armor world. As Lucia tries to talk some knowledge into Kirsi, basically Kirsi's like, please spare me the politics. I would like to just wait till after the wedding. And Lucy is just like, look, I know you would like to, but there's plenty of people who don't have the luxury of, putting that on hold. Many people basically outside of this damn palace have to wait on decisions, that are based on per se her or the king, and they're smothered by, rules and regulations dished out by, of course, royalty. Now kind of taking offense to this, Kirsi is just like, am I smothering you? And after this, Lucia just kind of thinks to herself like, how will she ever be able to tell Kirsi anything without it kind of being taken as an attack? And right after, she's just like, forgive me. you know, I'm gonna excuse myself. But right before she leaves, Kirsi is just like, wait, like, will you do one last act as my lady in waiting and help me get dressed on my wedding day? And as Lucia leaves, she's just like, of course I will. After leaving Kirsi, we then get to see Lucia banging on, well, not banging, she knocks on Norix's door and she begins to ask for Modius for, you know, just a little bit, because she has some business that she wants to take up with him. After hearing her request, Norix is just like, look, you know, you guys are not supposed to be chilling out together until after the wedding, and that's Lady Kirsi's orders. But you know what? Fuck it. You know, if anyone sees you guys or anything happens, go ahead and pretend that you knocked me unconscious and that you just took Modius away. After getting Norix's approval, we then end this episode off with Lucia taking Modius's hand and them just kind of walking away with her saying like, you know, come on, Modius. Now, honestly, my thoughts on episode 81 and 80, honestly, I don't know if I've said this before, but I just feel like Suitor Armor, I love it, but it's just so much in like one episode. It's not like, you know, a lot of crazy bits here and there going on. It's just like sometimes like a lot of context. Like out of all the webtoons that I read, Suitor Armor, I'm not saying that it's boring. What I'm saying is it gets me tired reading it. That's what it does, because, you know, I'm constantly just reading here and there, and there's just honestly a lot going on per episode. But, you know, again, I still love Suitor Armor. I'm not going to deny that. But again, sometimes it's just very context heavy, and that just kind of drains me. In terms of my thoughts on the episodes, number one, I do find it pretty sad to find out that Reimund's father actually died by suicide. You know, that's got to be depressing, and that's horrible. So I feel bad for him on that front. Number two, Kirsi on the other hand, I don't know, I feel like her and Lucia are like kind of inspired by like the characters in The Princess of the Frog, where like, you know, the princess, she's like ditzy and doesn't really know what's going on, and meanwhile, like, you know, Tiana is just like kind of like doing most of the work and knows what she's doing. So I don't know, it's like I feel like I really do like Kirsi, but I do know that her character eventually is just like gonna go in the wrong direction, where she just assumes that Lucia, or she makes this horrible judgment of Lucia and maybe tears their friendship apart, and maybe they eventually have to just come together on their own. Honestly, I'm not too sure on that, but I either see a rift or her finally coming to her senses and realizing that, you know, she should pay more attention to the people that she quote unquote loves, or like, you know, are like family to her. So guys, honestly, that's gonna do it for today. Be sure to let me know what you guys think is gonna happen next episode in the comments below, and be sure to follow me on all of my socials, my Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and lastly, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button to see more of me, Sensei Pink.